Boring is pretty much the scariest word in the English language for an ADHDer. But being bored is a part of being an adult. Grocery shopping, paying bills, laundry, dishes, doctor's appointments, dentist visits, schedules, and heaven help us, tax season. For the ADHD brain, regulating motivation is a top 3 challenge, if not number 1, facing ADHD adults every single day. ADHDers in these moments often procrastinate. And you want to know the real sticky part? Sometimes that procrastination actually looks like something productive. For me, I feel that sweeping, then mopping, and then polishing the floors in my apartment to be very soothing and grounding. And I tell myself this needed to get done instead of calling my doctor, my dentist, my CPA, or making a phone call. It's very important that day. But did it need to get done? No. I wanted that sweet, sweet dopamine reward I knew would come once I stepped back and gazed upon my polished work. But now it's 4 p.m. The bank, the doctor's office, the dentist, they all close in an hour. Typically, this story ends with a rushed attempt on my part to make all the calls I had previously prioritized. These were the top of the list to-dos. And how is it the end of the day already? The priority tasks were left undone. Stress, anxiety, shame, they all usually follow. But what if there was a healthier way? Maybe even a fun or dopamine-rich reward-based way? Temptation bundling is a term coined by the behavior researcher Catherine Millman and her colleagues in a 2014 study. It is one way to apply a psychology theory developed by Professor David Premack, known as Premack's principle. The principle states that the more probable behaviors will reinforce less probable behaviors. If getting started with a task is met with emotional dysregulation, pair it with something that is stimulating, interesting, and rewarding. This takes the pain and discomfort out of starting a boring or stress-inducing task. We turn our minds away from the dread, distress, and overwhelm, or of doing the boring thing, and instead distract ourselves in a healthy way by redirecting our focus onto the pleasurable activity. Temptation bundling allows us to build positive associations with those dreaded tasks. We show our brain, see, that wasn't so hard. We strengthen the neural pathways through behavioral activation.
Area outside of town under the pretense of discussing business further. There, a physical altercation broke out, and in a fit of rage, Kevin attacked his boss with an axe, killing him instantly.
People with ADHD have less diffusion of dopamine in the brain's synapses than folks without ADHD. This tepid or non-existent dopaminergic response is felt as boredom, and it zaps a person's motivation to start or continue a task. The ADHD brain is always seeking dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, the feel good and get hyped neurotransmitters and hormones. When we are keenly interested in something, we latch onto it, give it all of our focus and attention. Suddenly, the executive functions of our brain seem to work. It might even lead to a state of flow where our sense of time distorts or dissolves altogether. For me, if the flow is good, I feel my body buzzing and my brain singing. Perfect pitch. Attention is activated best in moments of newness or novelty. This may be one of the reasons why you spend the first few weeks enthralled in a new routine, but it eventually starts to feel repetitive and you drop it. It's just not new anymore. Boring tasks are hard to stick with, but as adults, we just have to do it. It's helpful to break these tasks up into smaller pieces and pair them with things that we actually like to do. Make a rule for yourself. I will only do the desirable thing while I am doing the undesirable or boring thing. For instance, save that favorite TV show of yours for when you're jumping up on the treadmill. Or when you want to listen to that new podcast episode of that true crime show that you love, wait until you're folding the laundry.
Alex Chin had been murdered by his own employee, Kevin Hughes. After committing the crime, Kevin panicked and didn't know what to do.
Or, in my case, I will not touch that mop until after I've made all the important phone calls. Remember, don't be too hard on yourself if and when one of these tricks doesn't work. Part of this process is discovering what works for you and why certain others don't. Don't forget, breathe. You got this.